Hello, this is Jim Stockstill, bringing you another message from the program entitled The Handwriting on the Wall. And the handwriting on the wall is what everybody says. It's very apparent what's going on in the world. They'll say the handwriting's on the wall. When in reality, when you looked at the handwriting on the wall, there's only one person that could really interpret it, and that was Daniel, and he was able to interpret it. No one else could in the whole province of Babylon at that time. But anyhow, I want to give you a teaching today about entitled Noah Built an Ark. And the Lord keeps impressing this upon me that to give this teaching, and hopefully we'll get some insight as I give the teaching. And hopefully God will be prophetic in the teaching. It seems to be a lighthearted teaching. It doesn't seem to be the way the Lord spoke it to me. He just said, Noah built an ark, There's been a lot of misconceptions about the days of Noah, and preachers, of course, have preached erroneously, a lot of erroneous teachings about Noah. And a lot of them said that Noah preached for all these years and didn't have any converts, only his sons and their wives. But that's not really true. God was finished with man at this point. He said that man's thoughts were evil from their youth, and continually was evil, and that he was going to eliminate man. And up to that point, man was living 900 years because the earth had never rained before, and that was the amazing thing about the ark. It had never rained before. There was a mist, according to Genesis 2, that came up and watered the earth, and it had never rained before. And God created the heavens, a firmament which He called heaven, and it divided the waters from under that was on the earth from the waters above the earth, and that was the heavens. As we look up at our atmosphere, that's the heavens. And there was a huge ocean of water over the heavens that surrounded the whole perimeter of the earth and filtered all the harmful radiation from the sun. So man and plants and animals could grow to their potential, and health and was abundant. But then after the flood, the rain that was above the earth came, and it's no longer are we filtered like we are. We do have clouds and we have a lot of water in the atmosphere, but not like it was before. Matter of fact, when there was first creation, in verse 1, God made the heavens and the earth, but it says in verse 2 in the account in Genesis, the earth was void and desolate, and the Spirit of God strove or brooded over the waters of the earth. That waters being there, it showed that something had already been created. Water had to have been created in verse 1, and all that was left was water. So it may be that there was a flood even before there was some kind of devastation, complete total devastation in the pre-Adamic race. And there was total devastation, and God's Spirit brooded over the waters. And God said, let there be light. He didn't say let there be a sun. He said let there be the light, and light appeared. And God saw that the light was good. And He separated the light from the darkness, and He called the light day and the darkness night, but He still hadn't made the sun and the moon. The light was it must have been from God. He hadn't created the stars and the moon again. It's amazing. Later on, He creates the greater planet, the greater sun to control the day and the moon to control the night. It's later on in Genesis, but at first when He just said let there be light, there was light. And where was the source? We can conjecture about that. So anyhow, it never rained upon the earth. The earth was protected by a great canopy. God said, let there be a firmament, and let us call it heaven. Let it divide the waters from the earth, the waters beneath from the waters above. Actually, if you really get into this, and you need to get into this, the waters that was on the earth had to be higher than the mountain. Had to be miles and miles high. Because God separated the waters right in the center. And the waters went up above into the heavens, and then the waters were on the earth covered. And then later, God said, let the waters be gathered into one place, and He created the seven oceans. And then let dry land appear, and He called that earth. It's amazing, you know. I didn't understand this for many years. You read the account and you don't listen to it. But if you go back, each of you go back and read Genesis, and just ask God, the Holy Spirit, the great teacher for revelation, He'll give it to you. So now getting back, God was through with all flesh, because in Genesis 6, the sons of God looked upon the women of men, the daughters of men, and came unto them, and the women bore men of renown. They bore giants, Nephilim. Now look, you go to the interlineal, and it says the sons of God, Ben Elohim, looked upon the daughters of men, Adam. So it reads, the Ben Elohim looked upon the daughters of Adam and saw that they were fair and came into them. Now these were the angels that left their first estate that talks about in Jude and are held until the day of judgment. They're in chains right now. Okay, they left their first estate. They were not supposed to copulate with the women on this earth. Now this changed the DNA structure, and we had a lot of giants in the land that had 6 fingers, 6 toes. I'm not going to get into this, but it's true. It's a DNA manipulation, and it was a perversion of Adam, the Adamic race, who God made Adam in His image. We are in the image of God. And that's why when a man is killed, God requires that blood of the man that did the killing. If it's just downright murder, He requires the blood, because in the image of God were we made. So God says, Noah, He says, the end of all flesh has come up to me. He says, it's in my face. He says, I'm going to destroy man. I'm very sorry that I made man. It repented God that He had made man. So God said, Noah, I'm ashamed that I've done that. I'm sorry that I made man. His thoughts are evil from his very youth. He says, I want you to build an ark, and He gave the dimensions. I want you to pitch it on the inside with I want you to coat it on the inside with pitch, and on the outside with pitch, tar, and I gave you. Here's the dimensions. I want it. What is it? He's 50 cubics long. No, 300 cubics long, 50 cubics wide. I want 3 floors, 3 decks, upper, lower, middle. Here's the window. Here's how I want the window. I want the door and the side. And I want you to take all flesh that's on earth, because I want you to take a sample of all flesh that's on earth. And I want you to take 7 of clean animals, 7 pairs of clean animals. You got to read this. 7 pairs of clean animals, 1 pair of unclean animals. And I want you to take all the food that's necessary to feed them, all the food that's necessary to feed you, and I want you to go into the ark when you finish, and I'm going to destroy all flesh that's on the earth. Now the flesh in the sea life wasn't destroyed. So we see in the ocean today, it goes way past. It goes way past Adam's creation. It goes back to pre-Adamic times. We have sea creatures that's been, their genealogy goes back tens of thousands of years, probably. Long time before man. But every beast on the field, every creeping thing on the earth, the lizards and everything that had air, that required air to breathe, was destroyed. And going to be destroyed. So now we see that there's an ocean of water above the earth, and there's an ocean of water below the earth. And so Noah, here's the age of Noah. The time of the flood is based on the age of Noah. Noah was 600 years when the flood begins. 600 years old. He was 600. It's first month or second month and the 17th day that the rain began. So Noah, that was based on Noah's age. 600, second month, and 17th day the rain began. So, do you know how long the rain actually? It rained for 40 days and 40 nights, and the rain went on top of all the mountains in 40 days and 40 nights. God unleashed the waters, the pools of water in the earth. It says, and the fountains, the windows of heaven. He opened the windows up, and it rained steadily. And for 40 days and for 40 nights, and then the water stayed upon the earth for how long? For 5 months. 5 months exactly, 150 days it says in Genesis. It stayed on 150 days. At 30 days was a month. Times 5 is 150. It was exactly 150 days. And then, it was on the earth. It lasted for 1 year. The earth was completely dry when Noah was 601 on the second month and on the 25th day. All right. So if the water was on the earth for 1 year and 8 days. Now 8 is always significant because it shows the new beginning, a new beginning. How many people entered the ark? 8 people entered the ark. Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives. 8 people entered the ark. New beginnings that repeated over and over. The ark rested on Mount Ark probably in Turkey. I think that's where it's at. Let's see if I can get this exactly right. On the 5th month. On the 5th month, it rested. And then I think in the 10th month that the waters were on the earth, you could see the top of the mountains appear. Ark was the highest mountain, wherever that was, and then the mountains appeared. The waters didn't start abating or going away until the 5th month. So it took 7 more months for the waters to completely go. On the 1st month, when Noah was 601 years old, and the 1st month, the ground was dry, and he took the top of the ark off so that he could have better visibility. And it says that the earth was dry, but he stayed on it another month. He stayed on the ark another month to complete the 1 year and 8 days, and then the ground was completely dry. It wasn't muddy. It's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting, isn't it? And so let's go over a few things from the Bible here, just to reinforce what I've just said. It came to pass when men began to multiply on the earth, daughters were born to them, and the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were beautiful, and they took them wives of all whom they chose. So if you read that, like I said, if you read that, the sons of God, Ben Elohim, sons of God, the daughters of men, daughters of Adam, and had wives, and the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. These were mighty men, men of old, men of renown. These were the men that had 6 fingers, 6 toes, a lot of them. They were Nephilim, they were giants, and we have many skeletons that show men 15 feet tall. Goliath was one of these Nephilim. This is why God would say in the Bible, tell Saul, kill all the inhabitants of this land. That's why he told Joshua to slay all. I don't want to hear a sheep beeping, bleeping. He told Saul, because DNA had been polluted, and there's a lot of messing around with DNA now in man to pollute it. So Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. The Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great on the earth. Every intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And the Lord was sorry that he had made man. So the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, creeping things, birds of the air, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. The earth was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. So that God looked upon the earth, and indeed it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way. And then the height of the length of the ark will be 300 cubits. It says a cubit is 1.5 feet. So multiply that out. So the length of the ark was 300 cubits. Its width 50 cubits. Its height 30 cubits. And I went over all that. Verse 7, chapter 7, verse 2 of Genesis, you shall take with you 7 each of every clean animal, a male and his female, 2 each of animals that are unclean, a male and his female. Also 7 each of birds of the air, male and female, to keep the species alive on the face of the earth. Okay. So, man up to that time had been living to be 900 years. God cut it by 90%. He said from now on, man will only live to be 120 years. I think even after that, he's cut it down to 70 years. It's about the average on the earth right now that man lives to be 70. So from going to almost 1,000 years, we've been reduced by 90+%. Because the imaginations of our heart are evil, even from our youth. And then also the atmosphere changed, and the filtering of the sun rays has changed. After the flood, God said, I will never again curse the ground for man's sake. Remember when Adam sinned and he drove Adam out of the Garden of Eden, he cursed the land, and he said, by briars and thistles, you'll have to raise your food by the sweat of your brow. Well, after that, after the flood, he reversed that curse. He said, I won't curse the ground for man's sake, although the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth, nor will I again destroy every living thing as I have done. While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, winter and summer, and day and night shall not cease. So that's a beautiful saying there. Now, in Revelation and the time that we're coming to now, God says that if he didn't come back, all flesh would be destroyed. But because he said this in Genesis, he said he'll never curse it again. And then he said, for the elect's sake, I will I will come back for the elect's sake. And because he got a promise here in Genesis, and God can't go against his word, he puts his word even above his name. And God blessed Noah and his sons and said, be fruitful and multiply, and the fear of you and the dread of you shall be on every beast of the earth. Now this is to us too. On every bird of the air, the fear of us, on every beast of the field, bird of the air, and all that move on the earth, and all the fish of the sea. They are given into your hand. Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. And then he says, if someone takes your life, he says, surely for your lifeblood, I will demand a reckoning. From the hand of every beast, I mean, if a beast kills a man, I will require it, and from the hand of every man, I will require it. So, from the hand of every man's brother, I will require the life of man. Whoever sheds man's blood, by man, his blood shall be shed. For in the image of God, he made man. God has said this is way before the law. This is before Abraham. He says, if you shed a man's blood, your blood will be required, because in the image of God, he made us. Now, that's not saying in war we can't protect ourselves and we can't kill the enemy in war, or we can't kill. It's talking about premeditated murder, just getting mad at somebody and killing them. Or if a beast kills a man. God looks at us in a very different light from the way we're being painted by society. God looks at us as sons and daughters of God. He has a very high esteem of us. We let him down quite a bit, but he sent his son, Jesus, to redeem us, because he did love us. He loved us so much that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth on the Son shall not perish, but shall have everlasting life. Now, Noah was in the ark with all his food for 1 year. If there's any prophetic implications, then this is a prophetic implication that I will give to you now. If it's within your power, within your grasp, and most of you have that power, you should provide for a season of food and a season of water for some impending things that are coming upon the nation of America. There's going to be a lot of, we're already seeing the riots in the street, and we've been saying this is going to come for a long time. There may be a shutdown of the power grid, but I'm not saying any of this in fear. I'm saying prepare you an ark for yourself and for your family. Have some food that you can rely on. If it's at all possible, try to do this. Have some water. We say Jim Baker is selling a lot of food, dried foods and stuff. We know we're going to have an economic problem because the world is getting rid of our dollar. The dollar had to be traded for a long time for oil, but now it doesn't have to be. So all the nations of the world had to have dollars to buy their petrol, because that's the way we set it up at the end of World War II. But it's not happening that way anymore. I think that agreement ran out, and also China's decided to buy with their money, and Russia's going to buy with their rubies, and Japan's buying, and they're trading among themselves. So this great dollar that we had in all these nations, all these dollars that they had to have dollars to buy the oil with, is going to come back to America. And our money's not based on anything other than we got the military strength to blow anybody up that opposes us. But we've lost a lot of that strength. Now we're not near as feared as we used to be. But anyhow, God didn't give us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of love and power and a sound mind. And so, Noah prepared an ark, and I want you to prepare an ark. Protect yourself, protect your family, get a little silver. If you got a lot of money, get some gold. You know, money needs to have some backing, and gold coins and silver coins are money. And they always will be. It always will be. So until next time, this is Jim Stockstill saying, I want you to keep looking for the handwriting on the wall.